Yeah, this is Point Black. Coming in hard and off the card. Coming with the flow, straight from the barrio. And coming with that heat from the motherfucking street. This is PBNN Point Black National News. The date and the great edition. And the ghetto edition as well. Because this is what we must do. You know what I'm saying? They come up with the heat from the street, the facts, the crack backs, the boom bit to their line ass lips, the flow from the barrio, you know what I'm saying? What up, primo? And PBNN, or in Black National News. Like I said, the late and the great edition. Now today, we see where we have a lot of people who is getting down with this Donald Trump court shit. And in more ways than one, it's no more than a kangaroo court. When we really look at the whole operation of this whole bullshit, it's a kangaroo court. But at the same time, to me, it's to cover up a lot of wicked shit that they are doing and have been doing. You know what I'm saying? Like today I heard a discussion where, I think Nick Nolte or McNulty, you know what I'm saying? I guess he's a radio analyst or whatever on 90.1. And everything he was mentioning was this, was that, and the third and the fourth about Donald Trump, and talking about I think he was talking about a tutorial, what do you call it? A tutorial, I think it was a type government he was calling it a Torian or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Some bullshit ass name they keep using, you know what I'm saying? A Tartarian government. I think that's what it was, a Tartarian government or something like that. But, you know what I'm saying? I could give a flying fuck about a Tartarian government or a socialist or a fascist or ism and schism and all kinds of bullshit. When it comes to the people on planet Earth, we can't sit here and get involved with all that other bullshit that they be talking half the time. We've got to start looking at things in a more brighter perspective outside of this kangaroo court shit that they're going wild. They busy over there bombing in motherfucking Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? People losing their lives over there, because like I said, these Zionists and these devil worshippers and these satanic worshippers, majority of these people you see are Freemasons and all kinds of deep state shit. Majority of these people, Illuminati, whoever you want to mention, they all worship Satan. You know what I'm saying? They all worship Satan. It doesn't matter what group it is. You know what I'm saying? Even in the pavilion or wherever they do this, the child sacrifice and shit, they do child sacrifice and bullshit like that. And you know what I'm saying? We're going to prove that in more ways than one. They've been doing shit like this for years because they are Neanderthal Cro-Magnus, and it's in their nature to do nasty things that they do. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them, but a great vast majority of them. You know what I'm saying? Many of them, you know what I'm saying, that isn't in the vibes of that itself, or really what's the word we could use for them? I think we could say they delusional. You know what I'm saying? We could use the word delusional on many of them. Even when they're talking about Jesus Christ and all kinds of stupidness like that, you know what I'm saying? That's satanic to me. You know what I'm saying? Even when you look at even their book. But when we look at Donald Trump and what's going on, you know what I'm saying, in this Tartarian or whatever government they're talking about, we see the same bullshit. While you keeping the people distracted in many ways, Net and Jackass Yahoo is over there, telling the people to go left and right because his whole agenda is to wipe them off the face of the map or run them clean out of town. You know what I'm saying? Which it should be the other way around because he's an invader. You know what I'm saying? Many groups have helped to put the Zionist so-called fake ass bunch of people there and change it into Israel and create a whole thing. But in the whole matter of things and the whole time that they have been over there doing that, they have even had a transatlantic slave trade, which the Arabs helped them with. You know what I'm saying? possibly even the Ottoman Turks, and even lately, not too long ago, and even now in the Darfur region, they were going around murdering the black people, just going around, the Arabs, them just going around murdering the black people for no apparent reason. They're peaceful and quiet, they ain't bothering nobody, and the Arabs pull up and come over the hill, and next thing you know, you see them rising, and they coming up in the people's village and shit with motherfucking, high-tech weapons and high guns and shit they probably got from the fucking Americans and the Zionist motherfuckers, and just going around murdering the people right in the town. You need to look up the movie Darfur, and that'll give you a more better perspective, such as we saw when the guy went over there, he had to rescue those girls because they had kidnapped all those schoolgirls, you know what I'm saying? They're over there doing a waka fuck, yo, you know what I'm saying? And then want to sit up here and try to, in the minds of the people, because they know our people is the architect of it all, you know what I'm saying, want to demonize us and then have everybody in the whole wide world who is not of our people to believe in what they're saying and murder and kill. Not maybe all, but a great vast majority. You could even see that during the time of when the people was emancipated from their slavish bullshit in the South, how they was going around killing the black people then, because in their mind they feel that they're God and this and that, and that's the way they made the whole world believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? Even in taking over and robbing and land stealing and all this, and every time you look at the government, it's always them. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of that shit is leading to what we see now in the Gaza Strip. If you notice what they call in the people of Gaza, you know what I'm saying? The Palestinians calling them dogs, this, that, this, discriminating on them and all, and then sitting over there and then want to be in our face talking about anti-Semitism. You know what I'm saying? So what the fuck you call that in the Gaza Strip that you're doing? Anti-loverism? You retarded motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He's a retarded bitch. You can see Netanyahu is retarded. Look at his head. It's deformed. Same as creep Joe Biden when you look at him. His head is deformed as well. You know what I'm saying? You can tell, so I used to work with a lot of different type of mentally challenged people. And many of the times you can tell, one of the signs you can tell is by the shape of their head and different things and so on, that they're not straight. You know what I'm saying? And they have problems and this and that. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at many of these guys, you know what I'm saying, you could see that in them. Look at Netanyahu. He looks completely retarded. You know what I'm saying? And whoever came before him. You know what I mean? How you going to say you're going to create a homeland, right? In I guess somewhere back in the 20s and probably the 1930s and shit like that. You say we've got to create a homeland for Israel, but you telling people that they were there in Egypt, you know what I'm saying, in the book of Exodus, saying that they were there, and then want to make this book seem like it was in the years AD, BC, and DC. BCE and all kinds of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Time is time. You know what I'm saying? And time doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? It just flows as it goes. And you grow as it goes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and you sit up there making people believe that this shit you telling them, and then you use the Bible to demonize black people, you know what I'm saying, all across the planet, and made people believe that they had Neanderthal genes in us and monkey and all this shit in us, and it isn't so, because when we do a DNA test on black people, you will never find none of that shit. And like I said before, they said they came into Egypt. So Egypt was already built. And many things across the planet, the pyramids and all that shit, even in China and different places, you have millions of pyramids over there in that particular area, even under the water. You know what I'm saying? You have miles of pyramid that they probably flooded and covered up and all kinds of shit. Oh, they did some work to get, people to believe that black people didn't come from anything in America, but from a coon, the mud, and all kinds of negative shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they wanted to whitewash the world, and we understand that. You know what I'm saying? Most people who take it's same thing. If Arabs had did the same thing, they would have been over here Arabizing the people. You know what I'm saying? And same thing with China. They would have been over here Chinanizing the people in a white Caucasian group that is a graph of the black people, the architects themselves. They even stole the eyes from them. That's how they got those eyes. Those are not their eyes. The pagan, white looking ones, they are really just straight up white people pagans. You know what I'm saying? and they use the African people to steal their eyes and their culture and all kinds of stuff and whitewashed it. You know what I'm saying? The same thing Netanyahu and Biden and the rest of these crooked motherfuckers talking about some Zionists and all these secret societies and all kinds of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at this thing from a brighter perspective. You know what I'm saying? Even when we look at Donald Trump and what he's going through right now, you know what I'm saying? Biden is guilty of the same crimes. You know what I'm saying? He's guilty of even probably even worse, probably pedophilia and child, molestation, and he should be, really and truly, many of them should be prosecuted for their crimes against children. If you notice, Netanyahu, log not head, deformed looking self, doesn't have any mercy even on the children. And we're looking at a complete genocide as if the same thing they did to black people prior to the Palestinians. You know what I'm saying? 75 years on the Palestinian. Imagine how long it was on black people, 400, 500 years. Who the fuck does that to a human population? That are the architects. You know what I'm saying? You know for well it was no more than a whitewashing. This is why he had to put Israel or whatever fuck you want to talk about, saying he got to create a homeland for Israel. This is why this city is bullshitty to ill things. You know what I'm saying? And then in 1937, I believe this book was written. And then they're trying to say that it goes all the way back to Constantine, it goes all the way back to Moses, and it goes all the way back to Aaron and all this bullshit. And all of that shit to me ain't no more than a motherfucking lie. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at NSBC, SBC right now, you could tell who they working for. Same as CNN News and many news channels, who they working for. You know what I'm saying? They're working for the deep state. You know what I'm saying? They're working for the Rothschilds. They're working for the Zionists. You know what I'm saying? This is why they don't like Donald Trump, or I guess he's a part of whatever is going on in the South. But that's why they don't like him, because a simple fact is probably they couldn't control him, and he became a rogue in their organization. You know what I'm saying? And probably it always was. Even when you look at when they talk about he was caught on tape, you know what I'm saying, years ago, talking about how he treat women and shit like that. And then you took the tape and then you used the tape against him, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one. So you secretly videotaped Donald Trump before he was a president or whatever, and then you hold on to the tape until he ran for presidency or whatever was coming up, and you sat there and used that tape to blackmail this man. Same thing when he was scared that Stormy Daniels was gonna run her mouth, or she probably made some hint, you know what I'm saying, and he figured pay her off real quick to keep her quiet, because you know what I'm saying, she might just do that because that's how people do. But at the same time, that still turns out to blackmail. You know what I mean? That's like me talking in here and somebody videotape it, or whatever, and then later 10, 20 years from now, you bring that up and throw it up in my face, or you say, if you don't do this and you don't do that, we're going to bring it out. And I said, well, I'm going to keep doing what I do, and then you bring it out. That's blackmail. You know what I'm saying? So Stormy Daniels' whole case is a whole case of blackmail, talking about 34 counts of this and 34 counts of that. You only got the number 34 because you want to make the world believe that, you know what I'm saying, he is that guilty. But when you look at many of the cases in the court of law, it don't hold up to what Biden has done. It doesn't even hold up to what his son has done, and it don't hold up to many other politicians what they've done. If that's the case, Trump would be one in the basket, just like the rest of them. You know what I mean? But it still comes out to the same thing. While we busy focusing on all this nonsense, you know what I'm saying? People are losing their lives in the Gaza Strip, just like, they're killing the people like as if it's nothing. And then we supposed to believe what they say about the Gaza people, and you trumped up the Hamas situation to make it seem like you were attacked, and in your so-called 1930 something Bible that you wrote, and this book is not that old. When you look at this book, this so-called biblical book, this that they call it a biblical book, it's not biblical. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even that old. You know what I'm saying? This book was written probably in the 1920s or to the 1930s probably, to create a whole book that would make people believe. And then you went around the world and whitewashed the world with this book. You know what I'm saying? And then you have chapters in it black people, but when you look at the chapters, in many of it, you see the demonization of black people in their book. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, but what it's not African. You know what I'm saying? But the only thing about this book is that you took from the African people their scrolls, shit off the walls. You dug up in the tombs. You used the Ottoman Turks to go in there and sit up in there like a big fucking set of duck ass bitches that they are, along with the British, the French, and all of that. And you had a complete a war going on African soil. You know what I'm saying? When we really look at the whole operation of it. You know what I'm saying? And then you want to talk. Same thing when we look at Billy Carson or whatever that jackass idiot name is. You know what I'm saying? He up there talking about Anunnakis and all that and finding any way to believe in something that is not real and make you believe it. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. He's working for the deep state. Everybody knows, and everybody could clearly see that because his conversation and what he's talking about has no merit in reality at all. It is just basically coming from his shitty mouth, black ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? A sellout like a motherfucker sucking balls. You know what I'm saying? He's working like General Sarah Sultan said he said. He's working for the Freemasons. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that this book that you call in a Bible was written and orchestrated and put together by the Freemasons. You know what I'm saying? So when you really look at the book, that's the reality of it. You know what I mean? So while we looking at all these court cases and all this bullshit that going on, you know what I'm saying? We got other bigger problems than to be sitting here looking at two old men going back and forth talking about one guilty and the other one isn't. And when both of them are, in more ways than one, they have a guilt trip on both. But the one that is, the most guilty of it is Biden, because Biden has created a situation in the Gaza Strip that murdered and killed millions of black people and millions of other races of people that was in Africa, and they came over there with this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't believe the carnage that went on in the taking of the Gaza Strip and placing these Zionist people in there. You know what I'm saying? Just to make people believe that this is true. And this is what Billy Carson is trying to do. He's trying to make you believe in something that is not real. And he's talking from a perspective of what we would call unknown lies, which means that you don't know, or you don't read the book, or you don't have nothing to do with. Many people go to church and they don't even read the Bible. They don't read their so-called fake Bible. You know what I mean? Many of them go to church and don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I read the book and when I was young, and even after that, I had even bought a Jerusalem Bible in order to look into that book as well. I have looked into many books, you know what I'm saying? And there was a guy by the name of Drake Walker. He had one of the first Jerusalem Bibles a long time ago that were he was explaining stuff to us out of that book. But the book is still a fake ass, lying ass piece of shit book. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn what you say. Billy Carson is just trying to make it, bringing a new narrative from an angle which he figure people will not figure out. You know what I'm saying? But we know it's occultic. It's occultic. It's the same thing that you see with this book. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to try to make people believe that this went that way and this went that way. And, you know what I'm saying? And he's going to try to tell you believe in Jesus Christ and believe in this and believe in that. You know what I'm saying? But it comes out to the same thing. None of it truly really exist in that way at all. You know what I'm saying? It was solely written to whitewash the minds of the people. And now that it isn't working anymore, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one, now they send nigger ass, black ass, jackass, balls licking, punk ass, idiot, probably LGBTQ clown, Billy Carson or whatever his name is. He's delusional. You know what I'm saying? But he knows what he's doing based on what he's doing. Like we were speaking up before, but I was rudely interrupted. You know what I'm saying? It says, now these are the names of the children of Israel, that came into Egypt. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. And then when you go through Exodus, in more ways than one, you know what I'm saying? You see where, you know what I'm saying, the king of Egypt, you know what I'm saying, spoke to, the Hebrews, you know what I'm saying, You know, you see, Hebrew midwives. Now, these people came into Egypt, you know what I'm saying, according to this lying ass book, Exodus. And this is one of the most lying ass books right here because this particular chapter, you know what I'm saying, moreover than even the Noah lion ass book, a lion ass chapter as well. The Exodus book is where where they're using the psychology of this book to wove in to Africa, into Gaza, into the thing. And then you turn around and say that, you know what I'm saying, that they did this and they did that. But the whole operation of it is when you look at this book in particular, you know what I'm saying, you see where he said the midwives in this particular, it says right here, but the midwives, no, I'll go back. It says, then the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, right? You said, whom, you saying whom the name of it was Sephiroth or whatever, and the name of one was, I guess, Puha or whatever, all kinds of, you know what I mean? Stupid lying ass shit. And he said, when you do duties, you know what I'm saying, of a midwife, excuse me, excuse me, thank you, of a midwife, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one for the Hebrew women, and then on the birth stool, if it is, you know what I'm saying, a son, then he shall kill him. So right there, you see what I'm saying? You see how they threw the guilt trip on Egypt. But let's go back to chapter 1 of Exodus. It said, now you came to into into Egypt. You know what I'm saying? So now when you came into Egypt, you know what I'm saying, and Egypt was already established, well built, the pyramids already built, all that stuff built. You trying to say that you came in and then you know what I'm saying, was bitter, you know what I'm saying, and taskmaster by the king and so forth because he didn't know Joseph and all, which is a lying ass story, you know what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying, but the so-called king, you know what I'm saying, said to, I guess the midwife said to Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. Of course you're not. You're Neanderthal, really. You know what I'm saying? You came out the caves. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? And you're not like Egyptian women. Of course not. You, whatever bullshit you talking about, you damn sure ain't no black woman and no black goddesses or black mother of earth. You know what I'm saying? The architect itself. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you use to coonery the world anyway. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you're not talking about you, the Egyptian. You are not like Egyptian women. So that right there is demonizing the Egyptian African queens to seem like they were murderers and killers or harlots and skunks of the world right there. And you say, we're not like the Egyptian women. Yeah, and you were white. So that's another thing. You know what I'm saying? Or paganism or Neanderthal, you know what I'm saying? Shave and off and you see what color you are. And then it says, and then we are not like Egyptian women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives and the people. You see, God, you see how this woven God in to say he dealt with them, the midwives and the people multiplied. No, the people invaded because everybody knew that this book is a lie when it comes to Exodus. But Exodus is a chapter that is used in order to wove them in to Egypt, Africa itself, and say that they had a right to be there. You know what I'm saying? Or a right to be within the confound and have a right in that. But when you really go back to chapter 1 again, you're still seeing where they came into Egypt. So while they was talking about multiplying and all this different shit, you know what I'm saying, and talking about you not like the women, it goes to show how you sat there and tried to twist this thing around in this particular chapter. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then talking about, this bullshit. And then he says, so It was because the midwives feared God. You see? So you came into Egypt and you brought in and see that God was with you. Even when we go back into Genesis and look at Genesis, it's the same thing. To me, Genesis ain't no more than a lying chapter as well. That's why it goes from Genesis to Exodus. You see what I'm saying? So because Genesis is like what we would call the movement of the paganism Neanderthal caveman. You know what I'm saying? Into some kind of understanding of some form of, I would say, intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Some form of intelligence, but not the intelligence of the architect itself. You know what I'm saying? It's an intelligence of wickedness, deep state, witchcraft, and warlock shit. You know what I'm saying? So when he say right here, you know what I'm saying, and so it was because the midwives feared God that he provided household for them. He provided household for them in Egypt. Mm, okay. He provided a household for them in Egypt. That doesn't make any sense. First of all, if the land was spread out amongst a great vast, you see what I'm saying? Like you like to talk about Europe, and I'm French, and my mother's part Irish, and my mother's part Yugoslavia, and my mother's part Neanderthal booga booga Africa. Siberian Neanderthal booty scratcher. You know what I'm saying? You know, you sitting up there talking bullshit because there is no way that God, you fear God, you know what I'm saying, and he provided a household for them. Household for where? You were never there. So this right here is a lie in itself. And then it says, so the Pharaoh command all. He command all in it. He said he command all the people, saying, every son who is born shall, this is what he trying to say right here. Now check this, check out how he tried to demonize black people. He said they fear God, right? They fear God. And they multiply and grew very mighty. You see what I'm saying? Very mighty. You know what I'm saying? And so it was because the midwives feared God. And he, you know what I'm saying, provided a household for them. So Pharaoh, now watch how he's going to change it around and put the demonization back on Pharaoh. From the time you say you came into Egypt to the time it came to this, it immediately the chapter jumps to demonization of African people and Egypt itself, disrespecting the very cradle of the ark itself. You know what I'm saying? It says, he said, every son who is born, you shall cast into the river. Uh, Wait a minute. That didn't happen. So you're telling me that the Pharaoh told these people, right, that every child born to these nutcases, you know what I'm saying, if it's a boy, they throw it in the river. So that immediately right there demonized it, put a demonization in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? And then he said, shall throw into the river, which they did to black people and black babies, even in the South. Napoleon did the same thing when he came in with his stinking faggot ass. You know what I'm saying? He probably stink too. Up there with his hand in his chest like this. Look, look. Every time they see him, he like this. What you doing, playing with his nipple? You know what I'm saying? And he took African babies and was born with the people and enslaving them and doing all kinds of shit, born with people and threw them into the fucking river and the crocodiles and shit like that. So we could see clearly that that's what he tried to say that the Egyptian king did that. And that's a lie. Ain't no Egyptian king in Pharaoh or whatever would have never done nothing like that. You see? But they had to demonize it. And they had to put the blame that Napoleon and the rest of his clown ass, bitch ass, fucking Neanderthal, Siberian Neanderthal booty scratchers, you know what I'm saying, were doing to the African people. You know what I'm saying? And then he said, if it's a daughter, you shall save her alive. You see what I'm saying? That's bullshit in itself again. You know what I'm saying? Because he would have never done that. Because first of all, when you go through the chapter, right? They said that they had them taskmaster and rig and all this stuff and had them building pyramids for them. For the Egyptians, while the Egyptians sit down and were having a snack. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They did not have that type of science. If you read in many of these chapters, they did not have that type of science. And it's clear to see that if they had that type of science and had built those things, then they would have buried their people in them. But when you go in there, you dug it up, and we know it was black people, and you dug up the black people, and you had them on side. So the Arabs were selling them on the side of the road, the corpse standing up like this, and he looked down there looking like a Siberian a jackass monkey as well. You know what I'm saying? The fucking Neanderthal beast. Anytime you would go into Egypt and dig up tombs of African people and be selling them on the side, why would you be selling them? Because you're no more than a slave Neanderthal, booty scratching Neanderthal caveman. Period. And there's no way that you came into Egypt and built a fucking thing. You were never there. You know what I'm saying? And it's many, many years that y'all were never allowed to come into Egypt because of your craziness, your Neanderthalism, and you stunk. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So when you look here, you're saying, and a man of the house, right, of Levi. See how he threw that in there? These different names, they created these names. They created these names, or they stole them from somewhere, one or the other. You know what I'm saying? And then he said Levi went and took as a wife a daughter, you know what I'm saying, of Levi. Levi went and took as wife a daughter of Levi. Yes, it sounded like incest to me. Something they were doing up in the caves anyway. You see, they were up their fucking babies. They were doing the same thing they doing here in America. They were up their fucking little boys and little babies and shit in the ass, and probably little babies clean out so chaotic within their brains that they were probably even fucking them soon as the woman dropped the baby out the stomach. They were fucking the little infants just born. This is how crazy these people are. This is just how crazy they are. And they're still doing that bullshit today. And killing babies and shit. They known for this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's in their DNA. You know what I'm saying? So the women conceived and bore a son. When she saw, you know what I'm saying, when she saw that he was beautiful, you know what I'm saying, a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. Notice the number 3. 3 months. Who deals with what's the number 3 stand for? You know what I'm saying? First of all, you could compensate the number 3 3 months, the 666 as well. Second thing, you could also consider it to 33 or 333 degrees of masonry. You know what I'm saying? So don't come with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? And he said, but, you know what I'm saying? He had him 3 months, but when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark. Notice the word ark. You know what I'm saying? She took an ark of, I guess it's called bulrushes for him. You know what I'm saying? And I guess she dubbed it a asphalt. And and pitch, and put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river. Bang. Notice how they use certain words. Now another thing you got to look at when you look at the Bible, their fake ass book. You notice how they use modern words. A lot of the words are modernized. Now they will say it's a translation. No, it is not. No, it is not. It's a crocodization that you're using. Like when you say God have gates. You know what I'm saying? Gates is an earthly thing. The pearly gates and all this bullshit. That's an early thing. When you had pearly and all that, that's not kind of sweet. But when you talk about gates, gates is an earthly thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not, and then you say he has mansions and all this different stuff up in here. You know what I'm saying? But when we look at it, says you can see it, you know what I'm saying? But when, you know what I'm saying, when they could no longer have him, they put him in reeds and they made it asphalt and all this different stuff and pitch and put the child in the basket at the bank. And his sister stood afar off to know what would be done to him. You know what I'm saying? Then the daughter of Pharaoh came down, right, to bathe at the river. And her maids walked along the riverside, you know what I'm saying? And when she saw the ark, you see, among the reeds, she sent her maids to get it. See how they're beginning to swing the story to give it validity? You know what I'm saying? They're trying to give it validity there to something. You see what I'm saying? And then he says, and when she opened it, she saw the child, you know what I'm saying? And behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him. You see? You see? She had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. Then his sister said to the Pharaoh daughter, you know what I'm saying, shall I go and call the nurse for you from, you know what I'm saying, the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you. You know what I'm saying? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. So the maid went and called the child's mother. You know what I'm saying? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take your child away, you know what I'm saying, away, and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages. So the women took the child and nursed him, and the child grew. And she brought him to she brought it to Pharaoh's daughter, and her, listen to the nonsense, and he became her son. How is possible? So that's telling you right there that the Hebrews, in other words, which is silly to me, in the fakeism that they're trying to talk up, is trying to say that the Hebrews, that you stole probably the name of those people and even the language probably, you stole that by trying to say that you were black. Because she said she gonna have him as her son. So for that to happen, you trying to say that Pharaoh's daughter was not black, or Egyptians aren't black. They were the same as the Israelites that came in to Egypt. Doesn't make sense. It don't add up. You know what I'm saying? Now it came to pass in those days, in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out to his brethren and looked at their burden, and he saw an Egyptian beating. See what I'm saying? He saw an Egyptian beating, you know what I'm saying, a dude, and he murdered the dude. So the whole Exodus book, to me, is a woven in of these cracker Neanderthal beasts to change the narrative, and then they use Egyptologists and that dumb ass fucking idiot, lug nut, retarded son of a bitch with his hair all up in the air, look like somebody shocked him with an electric fucking shock, and he up there trying to tell us what it is. See, and then they use the media as well to brainwash many of the white Neanderthals or the Caucasians, you know what I'm saying, or whatever they are, per se, to brainwash them into believing this story. And it's a story. And at the same time, you trying to tell the black people, you know what I'm saying, that Egyptians weren't black. So you could disgrace them and do whatever you want to them, because look at what they did to these people who came in to Egypt again. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we jump past that particular groove in the book, let's go over here to, where is it? Where is it? No, let me see. I'm going to show you another one. This one right here. When you look at even Chronicles, you know what I'm saying? When you look at Chronicles, even the book of Chronicles doesn't really make any sense. I don't know why they even put this book in here. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Chronicles, you know what I'm saying? You see all this mention this is another woven story. You know what I'm saying? That they want to wove into the ship something. Because when you look at the whole of Chronicles, you look at, Adam, you know what I'm saying? Seth, Enoch, you know what I'm saying? Canaan, you know what I'm saying? Or Canaan, or whatever. Enoch, you know what I'm saying? All the names, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, you know what I'm saying? The sons of Japheth were, you see how they're woven it in to tell you the son of Magog and all these different names, you know what I'm saying, going all the way down. You know what I'm saying? Even down here, even right here, when it gets to this part, it says the sons of Javan, you know what I'm saying, were Elijah, you know what I'm saying? I guess it's called Tarishin, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Kittim. And so, but then when it gets right here, this is the part I'm trying to get to. It says the son of Ham. Who told you we the sons of Ham? And see, that Ham right there in Chronicles lead back to Noah. The lion-ass story of Noah. Who's supposed to have built an ark, you see what I'm saying? He built an ark and all this different stuff and put two of every kind of creature in it. Even crawling creatures. And he went out and he gathered them. You see? So you're beginning to see how they psychologically is woven these stories into your brains to make, and it says the son of Ham were Cush, Mazarem, Mezrahim, yeah, Mezrahim, okay, Put, you know what I'm saying, and Canaan, you know what I'm saying? The sons of Cush were Seba, I guess it's called Sabia, I guess, you know what I'm saying, Rahama, and, you know what I'm saying, and the sons of Rahama, you know what I'm saying, begot Cush. You see how they beginning to say how this is? All the book of Chronicles, I'm not even going to go through this 9-ass witchcraft book, but when you see all of this different shit, they're woven in all these names of these people based on woven them in to saying that they were Noah's sons and the sons of Noah that spread across the earth, and that's impossible. You know what I'm saying? Because first of all, if the Most High had destroyed everything on the planet, every single person on the planet was destroyed except Noah, his wives, his sons, and probably his son's wife, and two of every creature on planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? And there were billions of them. So I don't understand how they fit into that boat. I don't give a damn how big he said he made it. There's no way in the world that he put all those creatures in that boat. Every crawling creature, snakes, a scorpion, poisons, this frogs, every creature he put into the boat. You see? That's impossible. Second thing is, he said it rained for X amount of time. Even if it rained that long, it would not have flooded the whole earth. You know what I'm saying? Because we know full well, like we know, and I knew, you know what I'm saying, as well as General has, and young Pharaoh was talking about, saying that when you look at Egypt, there was never a break in the records, and there was never mentioned any flood in the records of Egypt. And they would, and like the general said, and I'm gonna give it to them. You know what I'm saying? There was never a break in the kings. Even when I was a kid, I found that kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? There was never a break in the kings according to their records and according to anything in Egypt. So where did the flood take place? If you're talking about you was in Egypt, which is Africa, and you had the whole wide world thinking that Egypt probably wasn't in Africa, just like a lot of people didn't even know where Johannesburg was at. One time I asked a kid, young dude, where's Johannesburg? He didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the things that took place in Africa, they had the black people so miseducated and so dumb with this book, and the so-called Freemason preachers across the planet here in America, you know what I'm saying? Because every single one of them is working for the Freemasons, you know what I'm saying? Because they know Freemasons wrote this book. So if you want to be a preacher, you got to abide by the Freemasons rules, and you can't tell the truth. And they tell them that in their so-called Bible college, that you can't go out and tell the people the truth. You know what I'm saying? So many of the preachers have to only preach this book. You see what I'm saying? In order to brainwash and keep the people fully brainwashed and looking at them. And then when you look at the book, if you notice, even when the preacher is preaching the book or showing you the book, majority of the people in the book, which they took all of that out, the pictures, they took most of the pictures. You don't see pictures in many of these scriptural books anymore because the picture was of white people. That doesn't make any sense. So, and then you had Egyptologists and all types of expedition now and all kinds of shock-head fucking idiot, wide-head fucking retarded motherfucker of they trying to explain African history when they never, to me, really been in Africa like that. You know what I'm saying? Even if you expedition, how you really, you've never been in Africa like that. So how you know what really took place? So you're explaining a history of a people that you can't even tell how old they are. You can't even tell how old the pyramids are in all over the planet. And you talking about you discover. If you were building pyramids, what the fuck was you discovering, asshole? You was in there raiding and robbing and stealing, just a crooked motherfucking. Same thing with the Arab boy. You did the same. Folks talk about Sinbad and the 40 thieves. You know what I mean? You know, and when you look at many of these words in even this book, you know what I'm saying? Much of it is of Arabs and Neanderthal cavemen. You know what I'm saying? It's the same fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? When you see all these different names. You know what I mean? In many of these stories. You know what I'm saying? In many of these stories. Even when you look at even Revelation, and then when you look at even I think it was it's in Exodus, if I'm not mistaken, where he speaks about how the people, or he was saying the people is of blood. You know what I'm saying? When you read certain chapters, you'll see where he's saying that the people was of blood, and this and that and the third and the fourth. I can't find it right now, talking about there was of blood and all this different stuff. Yeah, blood sacrifice like a motherfucker, like they be doing today. That's why they be drinking blood and got people signing contracts and drinking blood and love to see them get killed and murdered and shit while they sit back and grin and enjoy like Mao Zedong. You know what I'm saying? These are wicked people. You know what I'm saying? That came out of the caves and came into Africa with the same old bullshit that they were doing up in them damn mountains. You know what I'm saying? But many times they got their ass checked. You know what I mean? See, even when you look at I'm gonna say in Revelations, you know what I'm saying? In Revelations, you even see that. You know what I mean? You see the same thing, like we was explaining before earlier, before I was rudely interrupted. You know what I'm saying? When he said, "And then behold, I come quickly," and all this different stuff. You know what I'm saying? Many of this whole book that you call a biblical Bible to me was no more than a con artist book. Billy Carson and the Freemason and the rest of these Rothschilds and Zionists wants you to believe this book, and it worked. It must have worked in America and across the planet, because you went across the planet. This is why many of the Catholic Church, you know what I'm saying, was going around the planet setting up missions in people's country. You know what I'm saying? Even on the indigenous African people land that you call Indians today, they did the same thing. If you go up on many of them, sometimes reservations and shit, you don't see them practicing what they know or what they're supposed to be doing. They go to church on Sunday in a church preaching the same bull. You see what I'm saying? So you know for well, and then you whitewash even that. The native people, the ones they call the red man, had been here hundreds of years before you even had this so-called fake ass book. You know what I'm saying? They had been here hundreds, thousands of years. You couldn't even tell how long they was there. You know what I'm saying? So we know for what you went across, and then you went across doing missions, brutality, killing people, murdering them, inquisitioning them, doing all kinds of shit all across the planet in order to wove in this fucking book into the minds of the people. And that's all you did. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the Crusaders. That's all a Freemason really was, probably. A Crusader. That's why he's still wearing that regalia and all that bullshit they be wearing. And talking about a sword and all this and that and this and that. And when you get doctored and all this nonsense. They were no more than Crusaders, you know what I'm saying? And they probably went up into Africa, into Egypt, and helped to enslave the African people and probably remove them from the land, along using the Arabs to do so. You know what I'm saying? Because they crooked just the same way. You see the way they murder and kill a person. Even when you talk about anything you don't believe in their shit, you know what I'm saying? You sit that over there, they'll kill you and probably chop your head off. And all kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And you went across and said that you went into Africa and you stole all kinds of books, the Crusaders, when they were running from the Pope trying to annihilate their ass, or whatever the case might have been, or even before, when they went into Africa, you know what I'm saying, and what you call the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and all that in Egypt, and you murdered off all the people. You even stole their shit. You know what I'm saying? Many secrets and shit you all stole, and then you came over here, or whatever you call yourself doing, and you probably did used their books and did rituals and shit like that and all kinds of nonsense, and said that helped you to do the secret shit that you do. That's why you're the oldest group on planet. You ain't no more than a crusader. You ain't no more than a crusader. Even when you talk about the Knights of Columbus, it's the same thing. They were crusaders. Many of them were crusaders. They were working for the Pope. And you the same thing when you went into other people's land. You even went into people's land, and when they was practicing their poles with these different people of power, little short people of power on top of each other on those poles. You know what I'm saying? You even brutalized and killed those people. Same thing we see even going back to when you had the Civil War or the Indian War, whatever you want to call the bullshitical nonsense y'all were doing to the people. You know what I'm saying? That was all, and then you use Hollywood to even whitewash that. You know what I'm saying? And you was going around murdering all the black people. You would have never shown that those people, the native people that you call native red man and all this, were actually black people. You know what I'm saying? You would never show that. So we know you're full of shit then, just like you're full of shit now.